Welcome to the Movie Amigos podcast. My name's Josh.
I'm Juve.
And I'm Gila. Okay, I'm sorry. That's
ladies
so
first.
weird.
What?
That order
That little
so
exchange?
odd.
Let's start over.
Nothing
Welcome
was
to the
fine.
Movie
Nothing
Amigos
was
I'm
fine.
including
podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Gila.
And I'm Juve.
And together we are...
The Movie Amigos.
Wait. No, let's just keep going.
So today we've got a topic of discussion.
Yes.
So not necessarily a movie review. We're going to be talking about our approach to rating movies, how we rate movies. So I brought some talking points, a few things that we can mention and talk about. And Gila brought a detailed list of notes and justifications and explanations. It looks like she wrote a few essays.
No, it's literally one page, and there's bullet points.
That's some
there's
small
no,
handwriting.
There's no full sentences. But I just needed to clear my brain about it, and I'm like, that's a good. When Josh brought this up, he's like, maybe we should talk about the way we review or the way we rate movies, because we rate them so weirdly different.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we all like the same movie, we'll rate it so differently. So Josh brought up a good point. We should talk about that. So here we are. So I wanted to go over my own movies that I've watched and rated, at least some of them. And that's why I made this list, so that I wouldn't be all over the place.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And like Gila said, part of what spurred this conversation was the fact that however you decide to rate a movie is like a personal thing.
Yeah.
So for us to just go into our logic and our reasoning into it, I thought would be interesting for people to know. Anyone who might follow us on Letterboxd, they could see our movie ratings. Where Letterboxd is an app or a social media platform where you can follow movies, follow different people, and rate different movies from 0.5 star to 5 stars. So on that note, I wanted to open up with a question. I'll ask you, Juve. What makes a perfect movie for you? Does a perfect movie exist? And we can start from there.
That's a fantastic question. How should I even answer that? So just like movie ratings and why movies exist, right? The reason for movies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is there a perfect movie? It's all personal.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
Because-
I have to agree. Yeah.
Because everything, at least movies, it's all subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So objective. What's the right word?
Subjective is like a person's perspective.
Yeah.
On
So
it.
it's all subjective.
Mm.
And so just like movie ratings, so there can be a perfect movie for one person, and then someone else could say, no, you're wrong, because that's not a good movie.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that the answer has to be, for some people, yeah, for other people, no.
Okay, that makes sense. I agree with that response.
Now, there can definitely be a movie that has a lot of strong points, which makes it a very good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But even in that conversation, some people can disagree and say that those elements are not what make a good movie. So everything is subjective, just like movie ratings.
I agree with you that there's an element. The purpose of film rating and criticism is the discussion of film helps to curate film in a sense where we can establish, I don't know if to say the canon or like a library of what film is, what the art of film is. So that's where my head's at as to why this conversation is important, because if you don't discuss art, it doesn't cement it in culture or in the cultural landscape or in the, what's the word I'm looking for? In the minds of people as art, as the definition of art, for instance, or the epitome of art. If there's no discussion around it, then that kind of deflates a little bit its value as an artistic piece. Do you agree with that, Gila?
Yeah, but I guess then if that would go into question, what is every piece of film art? Right? That's the question. Is all of it art, or is it just a fun? So, I mean, I agree with you. I think that it is important that we discuss film in general, whether we like it or hate it. I think it's good, and I feel like this also kind of connects to our first episode where we talked about one of the important things about film, even if it is the MCU, is that, or any other thing, is that we can talk about it. we can discuss about it, that there is things we can talk about, whether it's the story itself or the acting or the directing or it's the special effects or the score or anything else in particular to that film. The fact that we're able to talk about it in itself is really cool. Like, I think that's what makes art interesting, right? And I
Mhm.
feel like, although maybe there's no right answer or wrong answer when it comes to like, is every film art, at least we can confidently say that at least us talking about something makes it interesting and fun and cool, and I guess in a way make it relevant,
Mhm.
even if it's bad. So I mean, we talk about films we love and they stay with us, and we can even hate on films and they stay with us.
Mhm.
So regardless of what we do, I think maybe like not talking about it would be the bad thing, right? Like the thing, that the saddest thing about something, it's not like hating it or loving it, but indifference.
Okay.
So like not even talking about it, that's just like sad.
And I think that's a good point. We'll get into that a little more later too. But I think that that was really well said. Um, and it is fun. It is fun.
Yeah, it's just fun in general.
Just reviewing movies, talking about movies, giving opinions,
Mm-hmm.
cross-examining, analyzing things. Like,
yeah,
it's
very
enjoyable
fun.
in itself. So besides in the enjoyment of the film, it adds an extra layer to like discover the meanings or different hidden layers or why things are that way or what the
Yeah.
filmic language is behind something. That is also a fun discovery in itself. And it just in addition to just enjoying or hating on a film upon watching it.
I agree. And I even, not even that, like if you're into like, if you're a filmmaker or like filmmaking in that aspect, you can also look into like how long it took to produce and what, what took in order for this director to achieve this one shot that was wonderful. Like you can even get into that side of things,
Mhm.
which I think is really cool. And I feel like that's where the movie ratings go, right? Because I watch a lot of, not a lot as much anymore, but I watch very different movie reviewers that I enjoy, and they all like review films in a specific way. Some people do it purely out of entertainment. Other
Mhm.
people do it out of like a technical way. Other people do it because that's they've gone to film school. They've filmed things before. Like they are actual like legit people that know the craft very well. So it's really cool to be able to like, I can go watch one movie and then watch three different perspectives because all three of them are very different.
Mhm.
And either they like it or they don't. And it's really cool. And I'm hoping that this episode we're able to have that, because I know like all of us have very different views on film.
Yeah, that's for sure. We bring something different when we rate a movie,
Yeah.
especially. And to answer my own question as to whether a perfect movie exists, I think you're right that it is personal. There are a number of movies that to me, I would say are perfect.
Really.
So it's like, to me, that's a yes.
Oh,
But I-
The
now
answer
I'm
to the question?
intrigued.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
I think there are perfect movies, but I have heard people criticize the movies that I think are perfect. And I'm like,
Oh.
I disagree, but I still think it's perfect, despite the criticism I hear about
So
it.
then if I'd had to give an answer, I would say no.
Okay, so what does that mean for a movie, for a perfect movie not to exist? It means what? What does that mean?
It means that nothing is perfect.
Okay, so that, like, in my mind, does that mean that there's something wrong with it?
No, not at all. If something isn't perfect, doesn't mean that it's bad
Okay.
or that it's flawed. Well,
Mhm.
it could be flawed in some ways, but as in like it's bad that it's flawed. Something can be flawed and not be bad.
Okay.
I think within the flaws, it makes it even better. If it was
You could argue that.
perfect,
Yeah.
because I think the question here is there a film? I think I'm with both of you. Like, if I really looked at my opinion, yeah, there's a perfect film for me. I'm like, that's a perfect film for me.
Mhm.
But I don't think I mean it as like, it's literally perfect. Like, no, I think it's just, that movie it's combined of all the factors that make it perfect for me as an individual.
I guess I'm getting too caught up with the word perfect.
Okay.
And this is going to come down to semantics.
That's part of it, because
and I think that makes sense. No, but I also agree with Hubert. I don't think they're like, technically speaking, there's no such thing as a perfect film. It's impossible. There's no such thing as anything perfect on this earth ever, whether it's art or nature. Sadly, there's nothing perfect. There's always something wrong. and stuff that even we don't know. For all we know, the director's looking at it like, crap, like that looks so bad. I messed that up. Like they know they made a mistake, but to us, like, oh, that's a perfect film.
Yeah, that's
but like
true.
we don't even know everything that happened behind the scenes, post-production, pre-production. Like it could have been a huge mess, and for us it's perfect, but the director's like, that was the worst filming experience I've ever had in my life.
That's a really good point.
So is there such thing as the perfect, technically speaking? I don't think so, but I do believe that there is a perfect film for an individual person if they choose to say, oh, that's a perfect film for me.
Do you think there's an equivalence between a perfect film and a 5-star rating on a film?
So that's a really good question.
Yeah.
To me, when I rate a film 5 stars, what that means in my head is that I can't think of anything that would have made it better.
Okay, that makes sense.
So to me, it's like none of the story elements, none of the character work, none of the technical aspects took me out of the film. In fact, it all came together in a way that I couldn't imagine it being put together in a better way. So that's what a 5-star rating means for me. Where I can't picture a way that it could have been better. So for me, most of the time, that puts it in a perfect film box for me. But not always, not all the time.
Got it.
I see what you mean. See, I have rated films 5 stars. There's very few.
Very rare, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I see where you come from, and I could agree with you, and I like your perspective. But if I've rated it 5 stars, it's that word perfect. Right?
Okay.
Oh, so you just take that too, like, very particular.
Yeah, they're amazing and they're really good. And I agree with what you say, as in, like, I can't think of something that would make it better. Because, let's say at the time, maybe it's a film from the 40s or the 50s. There's nothing that they could have done to make it better, especially for the time that it was being made. That is something that I take into account.
Yeah, okay.
Which is the era that it was made in. So I agree with you, but I wouldn't say that it's perfect. It's just that word.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's
and
fair.
That's what I mean by semantics. Because we live in a time where things are spoken of in a very, in a way of like, oh, that's perfect, or oh, I love you. The word love has lost its meaning. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
gotcha.
Perfect has lost its meaning, where we just use everything in a what's the word I'm looking for? In
like a looser sense than the actual meaning of it.
Yeah, exactly. So by perfect, do you mean that it's 100% no flaws, nothing wrong with it, or by perfect do you mean it's just really good?
For me, like
it's superior. It's like the best.
Yeah,
because there's a difference between something being really good, like that's amazing, and then perfect.
For me, those are two really close things.
Okay.
Those are really close. And I maybe it's part of it is like me giving respect to the filmmakers, because I understand that they are mere mortals. So the fact that they can make something that I think is so amazing, I'm like, that really impresses me. So I give them grace. I give them a little bit of grace in that. And the difference between super, super amazing and superior and perfect, I'm like, that's a small sliver, because we're not gods. So so that's where I'm like, wow, they made something like so close to perfection. Like a 95% is like pretty much 100% for me.
Got it. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So that we
I round up a little bit.
We all pretty much agree.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, we say it differently, but I think we do.
Yeah. So can you think of any examples of 5-star movies?
Okay, before we continue, that's kind of what I was going to say. Like, I know Josh gives many of them 5 stars. More than enough. But Huve does not. I know I give 5 stars more than Huve does, but less than Josh.
Yeah, I want to go this route first before we get into what actual movies we have as 5 stars. Because the way we rate them is what I would want to go to next. Is one of your questions that? Why do we rate them the way we rate them?
Because for me, a 5-star movie is not just that it's like technically, it's not just the technical aspect. Part of it is like the heart of the movie, if you can even quantify that.
Sure.
So that's something that's deeply personal to me. And whether it left like an emotional impact on me is something that I also factor in. And I'm very sensitive emotionally. So I feel like I'm more susceptible to being moved by a movie, deeply moved by a movie, than you guys, for example. So that's something that maybe can explain the discrepancy between how
Maybe.
many movies
Sure.
I give 5 stars. Because for me, a 5-star rating is like easier than a half-star rating to give.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I'm not stingy. I'm not stingy with a 5-star review.
Yeah.
So it's not like I hold it as like some holy higher
Mhm.
standard. I'm
Mhm.
like, that movie did what it set out to do.
Yeah.
It deeply impacted me. I don't know what else I want from a movie experience. That's 5
And I won't
stars to
disagree
me.
with
Yeah,
that.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's definitely that. Let's go into how you came about to, because there's different rating systems. So there's the 5-star, there's 1 through 10.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know,
1
Jeremy
through
Johns.
100 also.
He does
Yeah, like the different types of like moods or whatever.
right, exactly.
Mhm.
Like it's fun if it's like a casual view, or it's like it's like, what is it?
He
Awesome-tacular?
also
Yeah.
does
What's the word?
like worth buying on Blu-ray. That's
Mhm.
another one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or like, fun if you're drunk, fun time if you're drunk.
Mhm.
So like, there's different kinds of rating systems, and we're gonna use the one because the Letterboxd, because they use 5-star
Yeah,
ratings,
yeah.
and they do half stars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I want to explain my history with ratings.
Mhm.
Okay.
So the way that I used to rate films, I've always rated them, I guess 5-star and 1 out of 10 is kind of the same thing
Yeah.
for me, because it's like, 1 through 10, then half star, 1 star,
Mhm.
all the way to 5.
Yeah.
And so the way I used to rate films was specifically only on its technicality and its execution, and like some heart, like you were saying,
Mm.
and never on if it should be recommended or not. Right.
Okay.
So it would be like, if it executed all these things technically, and if the movie has meaning and some kind of purpose, and not necessarily the message, but like, the director, did he or she make their point come across,
Mhm.
then that would be 1 through 5.
Mhm.
And I'll rate it there. But then I started thinking, what's the point of movies? It's not just for them to be perfect, quote unquote,
Mhm.
but for other people to view them, and it's the ratings is for them to be recommended or not.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
people can see whether they can gauge whether they want to see it or not.
Mhm.
Right. So I started shifting towards my recommendation of the movie.
Okay.
So I mixed both of them
Mhm.
on its technicality and on if whether I recommend it or not to a general audience.
Mhm.
Right. So that's why I came down to right now where I am right now. And
Mhm.
obviously rating systems aren't like, this is what a movie should be.
Yeah.
That's why in the beginning we all said it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it
I started
is.
rating it in the sense of like, this is for myself. And if people say, oh, what do you think about this movie? I'll go back and I'll see what I rated it. And I say, oh, I put that I recommend it for somebody, or I don't
Gotcha.
recommend it. Or, oh, I definitely recommend it because I gave it 3.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I came down to where if it's a 2.5 stars, halfway,
Mhm.
I recommend it. Anything below that, I probably will not recommend it.
Okay.
And then I gauge it from there. Then, 3 stars is like, oh, for sure, it's a good time. 3.5, a little more,
Uh-huh.
until I get to 4 stars. That's like, whoa, that movie's amazing.
Okay.
Above that, it's like, whoa, you're a god
Okay.
of a movie. You know what I mean? So that's when it becomes very rare for
That's
me.
like when God
Okay.
himself came down and recorded, like, filmed
Yes,
this,
made a film.
made a film. That's like a 5-star.
And
That's
I
a
used
4-star.
I used to use the website just to keep my ratings
Mhm.
saved, Rotten Tomatoes. And so once we found Letterboxd, then I transferred all them all. I had like more than 400 films.
Yeah,
and
I
I went
remember
through
that.
them and
I
I
remember
put
that
them all on
process.
That's
Letterboxd.
insane.
So and it's so weird that I like to do those kind of things, but I had such a good time going through all of it and just putting it in there. But yeah, so they're all in there. So a lot of the ratings I have are old.
Mhm.
So it
Oh.
doesn't necessarily mean that I'll have to revisit a movie and say,
Yeah.
this is what I gave it then. This is when I watched this. So this is what I think of it now.
That's interesting.
And there are movies that I will leave the rating, like the old rating, and I'll
Mhm.
just say that I rewatched it.
Okay.
Just so I can see, oh, I saw this for the first time a long, long time ago. This is what I thought of it.
Mhm.
So that's where it comes down. I can go more specific, but I'll let you guys.
No, I
So
mean that's
you're-
all. That's really good. What about you, Hilo? What's your general approach?
I review or rate based on genre.
Mm-hmm.
Because I watch a lot of romantic comedies. And sadly, I feel like a lot of people don't take romantic comedies very seriously, which I get it. Like, you compare, like, like The Proposal to, like, 1917, it's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to rate by genre, because I used to kind of do like what Hoover does, where it was like emotionally, but also like, is it good? Is it not good? And I would really go into it. But now I don't do that. So I rate by genre. So my 5-star watches are definitely emotional ones,
Mm-hmm.
but emotional ones that of movies that are actually good and have stayed with me. I don't usually put a movie 5 stars right away.
Mm.
Either I rewatch it, or if it's been like a week or so and I still feel really good about it, then I'll change it to 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually do that. So if it's like a rom-com, I don't think I've ever genuinely rated a romantic comedy 5 stars, because I can honestly say that I've seen better film. So although I'm emotionally attached to them and I can watch them repeatedly, I don't feel confident enough, unless there's like a film out there that's a romantic comedy that genuinely like blows it out of the park, and like maybe then I'll do it, but I don't think I would. But that's my personal choice. I'm sure there's people out there that will rate romantic comedies 5 stars, and I think that's fine. I don't. For me, when I rate 5 stars, it's not just my emotional attachment to them, but for me, it's the characters. I watch films for the story and the characters, and a movie that stays with me means a character that stays with me, a character that I still I still think about, a character that I genuinely, I'm like, I wonder what they're doing. If they were real, like, what are they doing? How is their life? Like, when I watch movies like that, or that I see that there's good writing, there's good acting, which I'm like, acting is also an art. So I'm like, if those things are connected and I'm emotionally invested, and I would watch it again, and I would recommend it, even if it's to people that might not like film in general, it's a 5 star. Because most of these movies that are 5 stars, I've genuinely met with people or friends, and I'm like, let's watch these movies. And I've made them watch it because I genuinely believe that they show, or they combine all the great things about film, which is like film itself, the directing, the screenplay, the sound, the everything, like everything that's connected in a film, and they put it together, and they make us the best film that they could possibly have. And I would show that to someone else and be like, this is what film is. That's what I give 5 stars to. There is one recent one that I did a 5 star, but even then I would still recommend it. And it's not like high in film as other ones that I have on my list.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's what makes a 5 star film for me. It's just all around. I would show it to somebody and be like, you want to know what not just casual entertainment is, but actual film? Sit down, let's watch this. That's, to me, that's what a 5 star is. And sadly, I don't think rom-coms are that, because that's such a specific thing. So it's like, I rate by genre, but those 5 stars, it's like out of genre, I guess, if that makes sense.
Do you think there are rom-coms that could or have reached that level of like, it's up there for your ratings?
There's a couple that I would put up there, but they're not even contemporary ones, because I could go on another rant about contemporary romantic comedies, but I'm not going to do that. This is not the episode for it.
Have you ever watched, this is one that I recommend if you haven't watched, and it's an older one. It's called The Apartment.
It's on my list.
I think
that's a good one.
Okay.
It's a classic.
So, okay, see, that's interesting. Classics, I don't put in this list at all. I don't watch that many of them. So I'm sure if I watch them, I would like them.
It's a rom-com.
Okay.
Yeah. Shirley MacLaine.
I might want. I mean, yeah, actually, on my list, I have a couple romantic comedies. But, yeah, we can talk about the movies later.
Okay. Josh.
Yeah, like I said, something else that goes into a 5 star movie for me is whether it has a, and this is subjective, right? Whether it has a good message,
Sorry.
Yeah,
I just laughed because a couple of my top ones are. I don't know if there's a good message in that.
So that's something that I consider, whether the point of the movie, kind of like Huva was saying, is like, you can overcome adversity, follow your dreams, or is it something sinister or cynical or whatever?
Right.
Usually for those movies, I give them a lower rating in general.
Interesting.
It's really hard for me to find a cynical or a darker movie that I give a higher rating to.
Okay.
As far as like 5 stars, because for me, I've like to feel good about life. So
Okay.
that as far as like I appreciate when filmmakers, because it's really easy in the art world to be cynical and depressing and whatever, and people are more easier. I feel like it's easier to consider that high art than
Right.
just something that is cheerful and
Okay.
upbeat and
I
happy.
see that.
Good thing Edgar Allan Poe didn't make film.
Yeah, I
You would
would
hate his
probably, I
films.
probably wouldn't be a big fan. But when the point of a movie is like, life sucks, you shouldn't try, I'm like, I don't think I like that message. And then that factors into the rating a little bit.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
Okay.
oddly
Is
enough,
this why
like,
you're not a fan of war movies?
I don't like war movies in general because it's just kind of sad most of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm
And
like,
people dying.
yeah. And it's like, even if the point is like war is futile, I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's why you
Like,
don't like war movies.
in general. Yeah, in general.
That makes sense. I
There's
don't
some
like
that
violence.
defy it, but it's like, usually it's like following a character that's against impossible odds.
And they
then,
make it.
And the point is like, oh, you can do anything, or something like
Okay.
that. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, how did you come about, though, in your rating system? Is it just that's where you start at the 5?
And you go down,
then
or
you
do you
go
go down? Because I start from the bottom and move my way up.
It's really interesting. I think, and this is probably not a good thing, I think it happens as I'm watching a movie.
Okay.
At some point, as when I become aware of like my feelings on the movie so far,
Oh.
I'm like, okay, so about now, I guess I'd give it like this rating.
I see.
Then from
Yeah.
there, the movie goes up or down.
Oh,
So
usually.
I've done that
interesting.
too. I've done that too. What do you guys agree that rating? Because obviously, I think this is the point that we're kind of getting to. If it's a
Mhm.
personal thing, it is something that's sort of arbitrary, right? So would you guys agree that's like ratings? Movies don't necessarily have to have them, because, for example, there are movie critics or
Mhm.
Yeah.
reviewers that they'll review movies and rate them, or not rate them, review them and recommend them or not based on just the film itself and not an actual rating.
Mhm.
Like they won't numerize, or they won't.
Yeah, they'll just say if they like it or not.
Yes,
Or whatever.
or if they recommend it or not, or what's the merits of the film.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, like, would that be a better way of analyzing a film than just adding a number on it, or adding a what is it, a value system, or not a value system, but
I think that that's fair because there are drawbacks to like ratings like Rotten
Mhm.
Tomatoes or
Yeah.
aggregate
Right,
sites like
right.
that, where it can bring down or up a film like arbitrarily, like you
Yeah.
said, just because of something that's not as important to the overall movie experience. Then it somehow the film goes in a certain direction, up or down, because
Yeah.
of some sort of agenda or
Right,
whatever.
exactly.
And then it's like, turns out that movie's memorized or immemorialized. What's
As
the
like
word?
the lowest rated
Yeah,
movie of all
right.
time.
Yeah.
When in fact it's like
An
better
average,
made. It's
an
average.
good movie.
you
And
know?
it has to happen with Rotten Tomatoes in both ways, where critics will rate it high and audiences low, but it's a really great film. In the same way, the other way,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
it's a great film and audiences will love it, but critics will rate it low
Mhm.
because of everyone has different standards. And
Yeah.
obviously the audience is always going to have a different standard than the critics. And what's really also great is when they both rate it high and it
Yeah.
actually turns out to be a good film,
Yeah.
or if they both rate it really low
And
and
it's
the
like,
film is
okay,
actually
yeah,
horrible.
it's
Mhm.
pretty terrible.
So that's when it works out.
Yeah.
But yet there are many times where it happens like you guys were saying, where
Mhm.
it'll ruin the reputation of a film when it it's not fair.
Yeah, I feel like, and I'm saying this based on, because I actually write reviews for books that I read. So I don't actually give books reviews when I write a review, because I usually tag the author, or the author reads what I write. If it's a review if it's not a good book, I don't talk about it, I don't post about it, I don't anything, because I know how hard it is to write a book.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And the work that it takes. Most of the time, either they didn't have a good enough editor, or they didn't have enough money to afford a good one. Like, there's a lot of things, because I usually work more with independent authors. So I think when it comes to film, the way I rate them, I think maybe this is like like when it comes to me personally, I'm very detached from the filmmakers, the screenwriters. Like, most of these people are super famous. So
Mhm.
if I write a crappy review, me, who's like literally not a person that is like on the New Yorker or whatever, like,
Mhm.
they won't care. I'm just rating them because I'm a basic person in this podcast talking about movies. Like, I don't think that I'm gonna have Tarantino listen to this podcast.
Right.
So to me, I feel like there's also that detachment from things, and that's why I'm more comfortable with saying like that was a crappy 1/2-star movie, or that was a 5-star movie, based on like if I know them more personally. I don't think I'm gonna be like, well, your movie sucked. I know you worked on it for a year, but I hated it. Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like maybe that's why I'm able to give like a 5-star review. Maybe if I didn't, kind of like with the people on YouTube, right? I don't think I would give them a 5-star, or I would probably do the same thing. I would be like, I would recommend it, or I wouldn't recommend it. Kind of like Dan does it. He doesn't actually give ratings. He tries to do like a nice compliment sandwich. Like, I liked it. I didn't like this, but I'd recommend it, or no, I wouldn't recommend it. And then he usually goes with like, is it worth maybe waiting till it's in streaming?
Right.
Maybe it's not worth spending that much money, going to the movie theaters, going out, being uncomfortable.
And that's great to put it in the consumer perspective.
Yeah, because it's different. We're, and it's good. So I think I like how Dan does it. Even like, what's his name? Jeremy Yance does it. Like, he's like, I'm here for the vibes. So he's like, this was a fun vibe. You should go watch it. Or like, I didn't like this. Maybe you shouldn't watch it. Or it's not worth it. So
yeah, that's really healthy.
So I feel like maybe sometimes it's not that good to have a 5 or 10-star rating, but at the same time, I don't feel bad doing it just because I'm so distant from the actual world itself. I guess, and maybe that makes a difference.
And as you're saying, I like it when, let's say they do give it a rating, they'll explain why they gave it that specific rating and why it's there. Kind of like how YMS, your movie sucks. He'll say it's a 5, but it's closer to a 6 than a 4. You know what I mean? He'll do that, and he'll explain why it's there.
Which I think that also adds on to like the 4.5s, 3.5s. Because I was going through my Letterboxd, and there's so many 4.5s, 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 more than actual 5s. And also there's some movies in Letterboxd that you can heart. I don't have them all hearted. There's some 5 stars. I'm like, yeah, that was a 5-star watch. But they don't have the little heart on it. Yeah. So I only noted the ones that have the star rating and the heart.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll heart ones that it's like, those are movies I can revisit and I had a good time with, and I can consider
I would
rewatch.
I would rewatch it. I was like, that was a fun watch. I'm gonna go back and enjoy it again.
No, it's good. I heart movies of all ratings.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Well, me too. I have some like 1 stars that I have a heart. So.
Like The Room, I think I have 5 stars and hearted.
No, I think The Room I have 1 star, but I hearted it. It's a good time, but it's not worth more than 1 star.
Yeah, but that is healthy to because the
you see how that just turns your rating system all out of whack.
What you mean?
Like, all these movies that felt so good.
I think he
and then he has The Room at 5 stars.
I think he achieved what he was going for.
Which was what? He lost half of his script, didn't he? And he just kind of finished the rest however he could.
You think that he achieved what he was going for?
I don't think
Wasn't
so.
like his whole thing, and this is something that he said himself, was that he thought it was a serious film. Then the film, people started laughing at it, and then he had to, accept the fact that people were viewing it as a comedy, and so he jumped on that train.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Right.
Is your rating going to go down?
No, it's not going to be moved. It's
a 5-star rating, everybody. The Room.
But it's like there's nothing like it. Like, he made something
so
transcendental.
That's very true. It's extremely.
He made something that's like,
and he himself, his personality and the way that he's on the film like itself.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, even this is like a moment in time. Like, he hasn't been able to recreate.
No,
he won't be able to.
Yeah.
It's just,
sorry.
It's that.
He tried.
It's that.
Didn't work out.
It's just like, I guess in this case, sorry for the word, it's just that perfect.
Yes. Yes, I would agree.
You're right? Like, I don't love the movie, but then again, it's such a fun watch. And I think Josh makes a good point, at least here. I still give it a 1 star. It's not, like, when we're talking about film itself, I'm not going to rate 1917 right next to The Room. I'm sorry, I'm not. But I'm still going to heart it because it's a great time. And I will make sure I put it on my review at that point. I give it 1 star, but I love this movie. I would watch it again. It's a great time.
Nice.
So it's like, that's
Why did you give it 1 star, though?
Have you
Why
seen
not
The
have
Room?
a star?
Oh, geez.
Honestly, because it makes me laugh. It's funny.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I liked it. I really had a good time. Oh, I see they're hating him. Anyway, that's that's on my list. Josh, any other questions?
Yeah. So, Top Gun Maverick is a movie that we watched together.
Yes, actually, that's on my list.
And I rated it 5 stars.
Me too.
See,
I
The
rated
Room,
it as a-
sorry, quick parentheses. The
Uh-huh.
Room I liked it
Okay.
because I love
so
the
there's
film,
a heart.
but it's a half a star.
Wow.
Because it's horribly terrible movie.
Even yeah.
That just breaks my little heart.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think
had my
the
heart in it.
funniest thing for me is whenever I go on Letterboxd to like log in or whatever, I see Josh and Hube either they watch it together or they watch it separately or whatever, and then they're completely different reviews.
That has happened on many
It's
occasions.
hilarious. I was
Yes.
laughing every time that I see that. I'm like, that's funny, and then I end up putting it like right in the middle.
That's funny. That's really great.
Sorry, you were talking about Top Gun
Right.
Maverick.
So
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick is a movie that we all watched together,
Yes.
and it kind of started this conversation because
Yeah,
I watched it, and that's exactly everything I said about a 5-star movie.
is
Mhm.
what
Top Gun
you.
Maverick fits in that category.
Oh, so you
Where-
really liked it?
Yeah,
Okay.
very much so. Very
You gave it
much
5
so.
stars?
Yes. I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
yes,
gave
I
it a
did.
4.5 when I watched it the first time. I was like, this is great, but there was something there that I was like nitpicky about it, but I was like, that just doesn't feel too right. I was like, even though I know why it's there, I didn't love it.
Mm.
But then I rewatched it and I'm like, nah, this is a 5-star.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's an achievement. It's a major achievement.
Which
I
I
don't remember what I
completely
gave it.
understand. You gave it
So-
a 3-star, I remember, or 3.5. I never understood.
How's
the
that
rating.
low? That's high.
so
No, it's
so,
like average,
That's
bro.
so high,
That's
bro.
average.
to me, a mediocre movie or a middle of the road movie lands somewhere in my book between 1.5 stars and 3.5 stars. That's like a middle of the road movie.
Okay, I
Wow.
have to admit with you, Josh, in that one, yes. I feel like for me, a 3-star is a good, solid movie. 3.5, solid movie. It's not trying to achieve anything. It's not trying to be out of the box. It's just like a nice, good, solid movie that wanted to be made, and I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
What is?
A
A
3-star
3-star movie. It's like average.
Wow.
It's like good, middle of, it's fine. Like,
So-
it
That's a
didn't
2.5
try
for me.
anything. But then, like, a 4, it's like they were trying to achieve something, but sadly, they just didn't fully get there. But then at 5-star, it's like they did it. They managed it. They made it work. I mean, come on. They made people like sequels. At least
Mhm.
that one. That was a sequel.
Yeah.
And it was
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like within that, and it's not even that. For me, what gave it that 5-star, and as I've mentioned, it's the writing. I think that because I watched the first one,
Mhm.
I was able to really understand them. I just felt like there was more to work with.
Mhm.
Like, Tom Cruise was able to be like this guilt-driven person. Mild spoilers for like Top Gun. If you haven't seen it, you're absolutely missing out. But
Mhm.
like, it's this dude full of guilt trying to overcome the death of his best friend because he feels guilty about it, even though it was an accident.
Mhm.
And it was his reckless behavior that led to that. So
Mhm.
now he has to lead these kids to do exactly what needs to happen within a very short amount of time. And it's not just that, but the guilt that he has to protect not just Goose, but every other kid because he sees himself as them. It's like, look at these kids. They really don't know what they're getting into. They don't truly understand what it is to lose a friend, to lose somebody. Like, this is like the big, like, where you're supposed to, and like so many terrible, like, especially the scene where he's watching them and he's just kind of like really sad and lonely, remembering his best friend, but at the same time seeing how these kids are having fun and enjoying life, and he's just looking at them like they really don't get it, or not even that, like he genuinely feels protective over them. He's like, wow, like I don't want these kids to suffer the way I did. I don't want them to die the way my best friend died. I don't want them to go through everything that I went through, even though I know that's what they want. That was like the big back and forth. So then you see these kids like genuinely wanting to be the best pilot, fighter, whatever. But then Tom Cruise is struggling with the fact that he wants them to be good because he doesn't want them to die. But at the same time, he doesn't even want them to be there because he doesn't want them to die.
Uh-huh.
That's what I got from the film. So this whole time, and then the whole like argument between like Goose and Hangman and how like one of them's cocky and the one isn't. Like, we all know like Tom Cruise is Hangman as a young kid. So when he chose the other kid instead of Hangman, knowing that Hangman would do it, he knew he shouldn't have, because in that case, he chose better. He could have chosen Hangman because he is better like he was when he was younger. But instead he chose the one that was a risk, and it worked. It paid off.
Mm.
Anyway, to me, from the beginning to the end, every like beat that happened, every story beat met what I needed to. Everything made sense. There was nothing that I was like, that was weird. Like from beginning to the end, every action that was taken made sense within the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that so much. So because that was very solid, I was able to like really admire all the flying, the shots, the cool stunts. I was like, this is the perfect summer film. People can watch this, have a good time. There was no extra romance. There wasn't anything like that. If people don't like that, they can just walk in, enjoy a great, great movie. Even if they don't even see all the stuff that I enjoyed, they're just going to enjoy all the flights, and a good guy trying to achieve the best.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a good, solid 5-star movie. It was great.
Yeah, for me, just to get into a little bit, the opening was incredible, like absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, my mom was like, yeah.
So then from there, I'm like, wow, like this is incredible. And then the stakes just go up and up and up and up. It just ratchets more and more and more. And it makes you care more about each of the characters as it goes on more and more in different ways. And it puts them in crazier, more intense situations to the point where I was like, I was fully satisfied by that experience. It was way better than it had any right to be, also, as a sequel of an 80s movie.
Right.
So that's where my head was at. So Hila and I were kind of in agreement about that.
I completely agree with you.
And we see how much rating
everything you guys said is great. And I agree with it. And I added onto my rating. And it fits in there.
So
everything you guys said fits in that 3.5 stars.
Can match that description to you.
Yes. Yes, it does. That movie was incredible. I loved it.
So for you, that's a 3-star rating, which is fair because you rate movies differently than us.
No, for me, that's a 3.5.
So now, okay, can
Which
we
is what I
start
rated
talking
it.
about movies now? Like,
yes, specifics.
Wait, I can't say why I gave you 3.5 stars.
Yeah, that's what I
5
was gonna
stars.
ask you. I wanted to know, like, okay, tell us why you gave it a 3-star. But then after that, I want you to give us like an example of a 5-star film for you.
You want me to go to? Okay, so it's 3.5 stars, and it's not higher than that because the movie is fantastic, and everything you guys said, ditto. Now, it's not perfect, and I'm doing quotes.
Yeah.
Right? It's not perfect. Like, the movie does not hang on its own.
Okay.
Right? It hinges on the previous film. Now, it's up in 3.5 stars for me because it improved on the first film, but it still hinges on it. So emotional elements and flashbacks and all those things, it hinges on the first movie, right? Also, elements like his love affair with the Jennifer Connelly's character. You mentioned that to me. It's used as a prop for exposition.
Yes.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm not about to make that raise the movie up.
Yeah.
So just like little things like that. Like, it's not a perfect film, but it's a really great film, and I would definitely recommend it. It's up in 3.5 stars, way higher than 2.5.
I guess that's
and I
fair.
think it's a really great film.
2.5 is your baseline.
2.5 is like, I recommend it.
Oh,
like, it's like,
geez.
It's fine. I recommend it. Yeah, sure, go watch it. I'm not gonna trash on it.
I think it's fair.
It's not amazing.
Yeah, your arguments
That's
are
my 2.5.
absolutely fair.
3.5 is like, whoa, come on, bro. That's great. Loved it.
Wow.
Great action sequences. Love the way it was filmed. Like, how do they film those plane sequences? And like, they were actually in the planes.
That could have been at least
gave them
a
so
4,
many
bro.
props.
I don't know. That could have been a 4.
Okay, maybe over time I can go up to 4.
If you rewatch it and it's still solid.
But when you explain it like that, it does make sense.
No,
the way
that
you explain
absolutely,
it,
I get
But I'm
it.
not trashing the film either. I'm giving it a lot of props.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna,
I think
go up
because the ideal of like 3-star being average compared to like
that's
everyone
the thing.
else,
That's where
it's
I'm
like
not there.
to Huve, it's like, no, it's a good movie for him.
Yeah, good movie for me is 3 stars.
Yeah, which I think that's kind of why this episode is happening to ensure that. And I have to agree with Huve. One of the big things there was the relationship with Jennifer Connelly. Like, I was there. I was like, it was kind of dumb when I first watched it, but then I rewatched it and I was like, you know what? It kind of works.
Yeah, it does.
Eventually, like it's after I rewatched it that I officially gave it that 5-star rating. Before that, it was like a 4.5 or 4 because I thought it was really good, but I was like, there's still that there. But the second time, I was like, nah, this was too good. So
and
I
what
just
brings it
enjoyed
down
it.
is like in the first movie, he's with that lady Carrie McGillis or whatever her
Yeah.
actress name is, but she's not in this film. So it being a sequel and there being so much time between them, it's like Tom Cruise still looks like he's 40, which is amazing. But it's like, it hinges on like, oh, this is just another lady. Okay, she's nice and all that, but it's just you're still thinking about the first movie.
That's true. That's true.
So it plays a big part of the, like you're saying, all the emotional elements of it, which works great for it and improves upon it and it adds on to it, but it still hinges on it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's still dragging it.
So there's like
behind
a
it.
disconnect between the love interests when it's.
I
a
mean, to
different-
me,
whole
it felt
different
more
lady.
like just like a summer fling. The first one, I never took it seriously anyway. I was like, I'm not surprised he's not with her still. Like,
Yeah.
he flights everywhere. He gets shipped to other places. He's in the military. Those never work most of the time unless you're married, and he wasn't married. So, like, to me, I wasn't that fully attached to it. So I was like, okay, whatever.
Mhm.
It's been over 40, 30 years. Like, at that point, either he's married with kids, but it makes sense why he broke up. Like, after all the guilt, I'm sure he doesn't want to be attached. He never got married. Like, to me, that makes sense. He doesn't want a
Hmm.
family. So if he dies, he doesn't have to burden anybody else.
Mhm.
So all of that makes sense to me. And him choosing to be with her by the end was when he officially decided, like, I'm going to focus to live my life finally. He was able to move on. He was able to let things go. He was finally able to, like, live. All the past 30 years, he's been stuck there. And for the first time, he actually chose to fall in love. I know it's super cheesy, like flying into the sunset. But, like, he finally chose to live. Like, Goose forgave him. They were happy together. Like, it was just the perfect ending because he finally let go of the guilt.
I didn't even see it like that.
That's what I saw it
Wow,
as.
I need to change my rating to 5 stars. Oh my gosh.
No, which like I said, I think this just kind of adds why I gave it a 5. Because
Yeah.
to me, even though at first the relationship, I agreed with Huba a lot. I was like, okay, I don't care. It just feels so forced. But then at the
Mhm.
same time, by the end, the second time I watched it, I was like, yeah, I like it. This makes sense to me. I like that he finally chose to live his life. So
Okay.
I gave it 5 stars after that. I told
Cool.
you guys,
So
to me,
what-
it's about
what,
mostly the writing. So
are you going into what movies are 5 stars? Wait, we already know the
I
room is
need
5
to
stars for
know
you.
what you, Hube. I want to know what a 5-star
Right,
movie is for
yeah.
you. You're
Also,
the
off the top
interesting
of
the
my
one.
head.
5-star.
Off the top of my head, I have 12 Angry Men as a 5-star review.
Okay.
Oh, I have to see that movie.
That's
great.
an amazing, amazing film. And thinking back to it, when it was made, what year did it come out? 1940 something?
1957.
What, 1940 something? What is wrong? 1957?
I mean,
So, like,
Yeah.
for it being made at that time, and it's a room where it's a, what do you call it? It's like a bottle episode, basically.
yeah. Hmm.
It's like it's basically the most of the time it's in one room.
Yeah.
And they do the best they can with it. It's 1957. I mean, the window, it looks like a backdrop, but it's 1957.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You can't really improve on that. And then it being the emotional and the I guess the emotional element of the film, you being in there and feeling claustrophobic and feeling what they're feeling,
Mhm.
that movie is just, you get that much tension and that much, like, you start sweating yourself and you're not even in the room with them.
Mhm.
That's why that movie is so
Interesting.
superior. It's so great. I recommend it.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to say more details because
Yeah,
you
I
should
haven't
watch
seen
it
it.
for
I
sure.
want to watch it.
That's a
But
great.
it's
That's
great,
a great
great.
example. I also have it as 5 stars, and
Never seen
something
it.
I like about it a lot is the overall message. Also,
Mm-hmm.
The message.
so it has a
Oh,
great
Josh.
message.
It's
So,
Saturday morning cartoon.
I know. I'm a sucker for that type of
Another
stuff.
one I have, which is like, this is for sure a cliche, and this is one where I rated it that back then. If I revisited it, maybe the rating would change, but I don't want to change the rating and it's Casablanca.
Okay.
And that's a movie where
Oh.
my expectations for the movie were so high. Everyone said it's an amazing movie. It's so
Right.
great. It's like, it's the perfect movie.
Quote
right?
unquote, yeah.
And back then, and so I'm like, wow, this movie better be amazing. Like, for what is it 1950
No,
something?
I think it was earlier. Oh, I think
49?
it was earlier. Let me get back to you on that.
Well, for when it was made, I'm thinking, okay, it's not going to be perfect in that sense. There's going to be a few things that are dated, but
Yeah.
other than that, the movie better be amazing. Everything, the emotional elements, the way it's written, the way it's shot,
Yeah.
everything. I go into it, it meets that, and it goes even higher.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's why I rated it 5 stars, because it was actually that good. Humphrey Bogart and what's her face? I forget her name. The lady in the movie. She's a very famous actress. Well, they do. They're
Ingrid
Interesting.
Bergman.
Ingrid Bergman. Them together, they're like the romantic chemistry between them, and
Right.
like it's palpable.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really great for when it was made.
Yeah,
Especially
you're
that's
knocking
like,
it out of the park
wow.
with these 5-star.
For sure, I
reviews.
rated
Yeah,
it 5
you're
stars.
like, okay, I get it.
It
That's
met my
I-
expectations and it surpassed them, so I rated it 5 stars.
Yeah, I think after this episode, I'm learning that I'm a lot more lenient with films because I rate books the same way that Hoover rates film. Like I think I've only had like 2 5-star reads, and I've already read like 80 books this year.
Mhm,
So like, because I have such high standards for books that when I rate like a average good book at like a 5, and then I rate like another I'm like, why did I rate that a 5? That's like a 3. It's a good book, but it doesn't compare to this really good one. So I feel like maybe that's where Hoover's coming from, which I get it more now.
Mm-hmm.
Casablanca was 1942.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He's like, I like it even more.
Yeah,
now.
I have even much more respect for it now. It was just made 3 years after The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
So the other one that I can think of, the third one that I have 5 stars, is Citizen Kane.
Okay.
And it's the
I
same
still have
thing
to
as
watch that.
Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happened with that one. My expectations were so high. I'm like, there's no way this movie is that good. Bro, he directed the film and starred in it. He's the main character.
Yeah.
And he's this young guy, and he plays himself young and as an old person. The prosthetics in the movie, what year is this? 1941?
Yeah. Let me make sure.
It looks amazing. Like, how does he look like an old man? Like, maybe if I rewatch it and I really dissected it, I'm like, oh, that's
really
prosthetics. Oh, whatever. But when I first watched them, I'm like, wow, this is... I didn't even know
incredible.
that was him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, I went in with a little bit more of a blind eye, knowing I knew about it more after I watched it.
Mm.
But first time watching it, first reaction, boom, wow, this is 5 stars. It's amazing.
Now
It
I
was
have
so
a
good.
question. So would you think, how we've mentioned before, that hype or like expectations of certain films
That's really great.
changes reviews,
Mm-hmm.
or the way you rate a movie? Like maybe you didn't like it, but because it's so like, oh, it's like a classic film, I can't be like, oh, I need to be like, so you put it higher up just because it's like Casablanca. I like that movie. It wasn't like a 5-star for me. It actually, on the contrary, it was so overhyped that it didn't meet the hypeness. Like it just didn't.
Right.
But it was a different experience for Hoover. So
Right.
I don't, I feel like, and I've had those moments where I didn't like a movie, but because either one of you both like it so much, I'm like, I can't be like, so like put like half a star more or another star after. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
in that way, like, I guess now I'm a lot more confident with my views as like a movie rater or movie watcher or whatever. I'm more confident in what I like and what I don't like. But for a long time, I wouldn't like change reviews. Maybe I loved the movie, but other people didn't, so I like lowered the rating
Mm-hmm.
just because I'm like, I don't want to look different. Now it's
Yeah.
different, but I did that a lot before.
I will say that's happened to me a couple times too, where I give a movie a rating on the lower side, and then I hear explanations of people of why they like the movie so much. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's something I missed. I guess that's something I didn't really think about.
Yeah,
and then I'll go
definitely
back
has
and give it
happened.
a slightly higher.
You're
But
like,
it
"Oh, I
doesn't
missed
change that much still. It usually it's around the same area. Like
Right.
What
within
you
a
said
star.
about expectations, I completely agree, and it does affect me when I go to watch a movie for the first time, and that's why I have even more respect for Casablanca and Citizen Kane and 12 Angry Men, because my expectations and my standards were so high, and they met them and exceeded them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have them at 5 stars. If it was like I saw it and it met my expectations, maybe 4.5.
Yeah.
But I had to put it in 5 because it was even better than I thought it was going to be.
Awesome.
For the time that it was made, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I think, honestly, I feel like after you explaining what gives a 5-star rating and the examples that you gave, like, there's no question. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Like, I get it.
Why Top Gun Maverick is in a 5-star?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
For me.
like, okay, that completely makes sense. Like, I don't even have to question it. Like, now I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, Tom Cruise making out with this Beautiful Woman does
Yeah.
not compare to like We'll Always Have Paris. You know, it really doesn't. So I get it. I think it's fair, and I'm glad that this episode has stuck with. It's just relative. Like everyone's different. Everyone's gonna have different views in film, and I think that's cool.
Yeah. This is I want to round out the discussion with the opposite extreme.
Okay. Oh, ooh.
So, what to you makes a half-star movie? What
Wow.
is where that's
Okay,
the lowest
okay.
possible rating?
I even like fixed myself in my chair. The thing is, it's easier for me to give a half-star rating than to give a 4 and up rating.
Okay.
Because to me,
So you're the opposite of me.
yeah, I can automatically know. I'm like, this is garbage. And I know I say that, and I get it. It's really difficult to make a film. But it's like when I can clearly see your money agenda, when I can clearly see that agenda you're trying to pull, 100% the rating goes down by the star. As I keep watching this movie, I'm like, no, this is not good. I know a lot of it might be like emotional, which is whatever. That's how I rate. But for me, a 5-star rating, if it doesn't have a heart, because I have some heart, like I think I have like Last Vampire on Earth on like a 1 or like a 1 or a half a star or something.
You have it at 1 star.
Okay, but I still liked it because even though it was so weird, it at least tried to do something. It was not that good, but it's, you know, like it's worthy to even have a heart or consideration. But then there's movies like He Saw That.
Oh my God.
I hate that movie. Like, even if at least if it was good, it would get maybe a 2-star. It's not good. It's like obviously made for money. It's trying to be woke. It's all this like it's like a lasagna layer after layer after layer of crap. Like there's nothing good in it. Like you would assume at least have like the main people have
but it was
chemistry.
It was in focus.
Was it? I don't know. Like at least have the characters in even if everything's crap, at least have the main romantic leads have chemistry. They don't even have that. Like, what? There was more chemistry in the room.
The room.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
in the room there was more chemistry. If you like He's All That, you know what? More power to you. That's fine.
I think there's very few people who will argue with you.
My
on that.
opinion only. I do not like that movie. Instantly, I knew I would give it no stars, but I wanted to rate it, so I give it half stars.
Got you. Cool.
Because I that's like an example of a movie that I have on here that I hated. He's All That is my first one, actually.
First half-star?
Yeah, He's All That.
Oh,
then,
on your list.
On my list. I wrote a list. And then after that, I have Lucy.
Oh, wow.
I was very upset. That movie was, I was like, this is stupid. And I don't know, maybe I have to rewatch it. That's one that I was like, I should rewatch it. Maybe it's like a 1 star instead of a half star.
I don't think you're too far off.
And then my last one was, I know people are, this is the one that I wrote it down because people will absolutely, full-heartedly will disagree with me.
Uh-oh.
And it's the movie One Day.
One Day. I don't know that one.
Anne Hathaway and some other guy. It's not good. For me, I didn't like it. And it's a book. So I'm like, okay, I have the book, but I would never read it. But I'm like, it was a chemistry between the two. Like, this could be this wonderful, beautiful, sad, tragic, amazing story. But if the two characters look like they're two, like a fish, like one's a fish and the other one's like a freaking turtle, like, I don't know, it just, there's no chemistry. I was like, I'm just watching people act. I hated that. I hated that so much. It failed terribly. There's no chemistry. And we've seen Anne Hathaway in other movies where she has great chemistry with actors. And she's great in them. This movie, I'm like, no, it doesn't, no, I don't know. It just, I gave it a half star and I was surprised I did. But I would never recommend it to anybody. I've seen better movies of the same trope. Better.
Yeah.
I've seen better movies of the same actress elsewhere. I know better, like historical, time travel, whatever. I've seen that. I can show other movies that are better. Just in general, I can.
Wait, there's time travel in it?
I mean, it's like a back and forth. Like you talk about like history and the like how they met, how they are now, blah blah blah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay,
so time travel, but like different timelines, different times. Yeah, like I know better movies like that. I can recommend 5 more movies better than that movie.
The Time Traveler's Wife.
Sure, I've never watched that movie.
Likewise.
I tried once. It didn't work, so. Anyway,
He's a bad husband, man.
In the Time Traveler's Wife?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, I want to
he
get
can't
you
control
in
it,
it.
though.
I want to get you in a room with a group of women that love that movie and
Oh,
would
my-
die for him.
Oh,
I would love
no.
to see that.
I've half watched that movie. I've never watched it fully, so I don't know if it's good or not. Or like
It
if I
makes me
recommend it.
uncomfortable. I've never seen it, but I know there's a new HBO show about it now.
Mm.
But I don't understand how he can go back in time and hang out with his wife when she's a kid. Like, that's weird.
Oh, that is weird. That happens?
Yes!
Oh.
He, like, goes and hangs out with his wife when she's a baby. Well, she's, like, 5.
Wow.
So, like, she's always known him her whole life. That's why she
weirder
loves
than Blue
him.
Lagoon.
It really is.
A 5-star Hoover
Oh,
movie.
I don't even know what I rated it. I
Blue
think it was...
Lagoon. Oh, my mom grew up in the 80s. So
She saw it?
she watched that movie and she heard the episode and she's like, I never knew about Blue Lagoon.
Oh, no.
I need to... Actually, you know what? I need to find out, and then we can set it in another
You know what
episode
I
if they
found
actually
out?
are cousins.
I don't know if they're cousins, but for sure the girl was 16 and the boy was 14.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I looked it up. I looked at pictures. I'm like,
I
yeah,
think
that
he
kid
was-
looks very young.
He must have been older than her.
I don't know. He looks young.
Do you mean the actors or
He
the
does look young.
characters?
the act? I don't know about the characters. Maybe the characters. I don't know, but it was weird. Don't quote me on it though.
I think the characters were the same age, and I think he was older. I don't think he must
Are
have
you
been 14.
sure?
There's no way
I
he
saw
was 14.
pictures and he looked younger than her.
He had some facial hair.
There's boys that have
No.
facial hair. Puberty hits them
No,
harder.
that's true. And he's got facial hair.
Mhm.
He's 16, I think, right? How old is he? 15?
He's
Even
16.
then, that's fair. Like that's still underage, even for a boy.
Right, yeah. We're
Yeah,
really
like, that's not good.
getting
It's
into the minutia
That's
of
true.
how wrong it is. Yeah.
It's still
Sorry to
wrong,
make it
regardless
fun.
if he's 14 or 16 years old. Anyway, yeah, sorry I took over that.
No, that's
Okay.
totally fine.
That's what makes a
very
half-star
interesting.
movie.
What makes a half-star movie for you, Hoover?
So currently my Letterboxd, I counted them. I have 34 half-star movies.
Wow,
I don't
that's,
know how
that's a
many
lot
I
more
have.
than me.
But I mean, is that really that much compared to how many movies I have rated?
Yeah, I think you
I
have
don't think
rated
it's that
more
much.
movies than me. Also,
So I think I have like over 1,000.
Oh
So
my
it's like-
gosh.
which is not that much. As people that have thousands.
Yeah,
in Letterboxd.
I
Yeah, I don't
I'm
have that many.
jealous.
I have like
So,
500.
I have
Yeah,
34
same here.
that are half stars. For me, half star, it's like, it says half stars. Some of them, it's like, there should be zeros, but I can't give them zeros.
That's how I feel about He's All Mad.
So I do have them at half stars. It's what she said. It's like, it's garbage. It's trash. It shouldn't be a film. They didn't care. Or if they did care, they horribly failed. And they should not be filmmakers. Don't go near a camera.
Mhm.
You know, basically that.
Gotcha.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it at all. You know, but here's the thing though.
Mhm.
Some of them, you have to recommend them. Like The Room.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's the
but-
line. That's where it's like, it's down there where it's horrible, but it's so horrible that it's funny that you do recommend it. And I do like it.
But
for
there
that
are very
reason.
few movies in that.
Yes, exactly.
I think,
So,
yeah. For me, The Room is one where I don't have it at half star. I have it at 1 because I would recommend it.
Mhm.
Half stars, I would never die. Like,
Uh-huh.
never in my life would recommend these movies.
Okay.
Ever. Don't
Mhm.
watch that.
Right. So the reason I'm recommending it though is not because it's good. Like why I would put 2.5 stars for a movie.
Okay.
Right. Where it reaches that line for I do and I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because it's really bad, but it's so bad that it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I
Right.
have it start for that. There's other ones under, Dragonball Evolution. That's just because that one is offensive.
Yes. Yes.
That one gets a lot more personal. But
Dragon Ball, but this time it's personal.
I have one that's like, I know you might have rated higher. I don't know about Hila. I forgot hers, but like
Mhm.
Senior Year. It's a newer film.
I did
on
rate it
Netflix.
higher. Yes.
Yeah,
I have
when
it
I
at half a
saw
star.
that rating, I was like, what the heck, Josh?
That movie, I think it's not as offensive as Dragon Ball Evolution for me, but it's pretty offensive in the sense of like, why are you a movie? Sorry, this is just so stupid.
Well, okay, now
I
I
can't
want to know.
with this
Let's get
movie.
in on this.
Okay. Sure.
I understand completely why Hube gave the rating because my rating was not that high. I think I gave it
Yours
like
on the lower side.
I think it was like a 2.5 or a 3, and that's because I could see what they were trying to do, but
Mhm.
it didn't go higher for other reasons. But I want to know what you gave it.
Yeah. Well, for
4
me,
stars.
a lot of it goes into nostalgia.
Okay.
It plays into nostalgia for me super well.
Okay.
Of the early 2000s, because the point is that character is stuck in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a microcosm to me. Like you guys are going to strongly disagree with this
Okay.
interpretation. But to me, what the movie is, it's God, you guys are really going to disagree.
The fact that
with
you're
this.
questioning it.
No, I mean, I have this opinion
Okay.
that this movie is like a deconstruction of high school
Uh-huh.
movies,
Mhm.
because kind of similar in the similar vein to 21 Jump Street
Yeah.
or something like that, where it's like it's about high school movies. Because the point of high school
Uh-huh.
movies, honestly, is for the most part nostalgia.
Uh-huh.
Like movies like that are highly rated high school movies, like
High School Musical.
oh, I was thinking like The Breakfast Club or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
Right.
where those movies are held in very high esteem by critics and audiences alike. What's really valued in there is the fact that it's like a ragtag group of unlikely friends and they get along, and there's something you identify with, there's something you connect
Okay.
with in that.
That's fair.
So for me, the character in senior year is a representation
of you?
No, well, in a sense, I connect because I grew up in the early 2000s, but it's a representation of like, it's just like to like an absurd extreme of like the dipping the movie in nostalgia. How far can we take it? How ridiculous can it be?
It's a caricature of it.
Yeah,
because it's like it's an infatuation of that.
Yes, yeah, and like as far as it can go in that direction, and that's something that I respect the movie being so ridiculous in that aspect, where it's like she's like 35 or 40 in high school, and it's like, why is she doing that? Why is this? But it's like, why do we like high school movies? Why do we?
Well, you
take these
really
stories?
went deep into
That's
this movie.
that. So that's why I put it on the positive side, very much on the positive side, to the
Interesting.
point where I think it should be considered in the high school movie
I would
canon.
agree with you if it's that kind of like the movie where Zac Efron turns into an old man.
17 again.
I mean, no, the old man turns into Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Sorry, to Matthew Perry. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
17
she
again.
was older, somehow, and still in early 2000s high school,
Okay.
right? But it's not. She grew. You know, she was in a coma. Spoilers. She was in a coma, and then she now has to go through high school in today's time
Mhm.
with all these
Crazy
dumb
stuff.
people. You know what I
Uh-huh,
mean? The generation nowadays. I sound like an old man, but
We are old.
so it's not. It's
We
a
were
different.
born-
She has to adapt, go back into high school, but adapt to also like you have to add it on top this new system of high
Mhm.
school. I guess the new culture, the new society. It's a different society.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean? It's a different way
It's
of
fun.
like the hierarchy of how everything works and like what's popularity and all that. So
Mhm.
it's like it's been flipped on its head. Like I could agree with you, but if it was in the same time or the same era,
Uh-huh.
I could understand that. But it's like how is it nostalgic? Because it's nostalgic for like the 2000s, but she goes back into high school nowadays.
Okay.
So it just I don't completely agree.
Okay.
Look,
And for
I'm,
me,
I'm in the middle, so I'm just watching Josh and who went back and forth.
and for me,
And
that
I
does.
don't think your point is.
I don't
not
think it's.
devaluing
I'm
it
in
for
the
sure.
middle of both of you, actually.
Mhm. That stuff for me doesn't take away from
Okay.
from the movie.
Interesting.
Because it's still
Okay.
high school.
Right.
I
Right.
see.
Uh huh.
Mm.
And actually, this is a total sidebar. But I have to talk about this. I have to inject it in the
Okay.
episode. With that movie, I had an interesting experience
Okay.
where, okay, to explain that, I have to explain this other thing.
Okay.
Once I was having a movie marathon with my sister,
Okay.
and then we watched The Usual Suspects.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, spoilers for The Usual Suspects. Okay.
Okay.
But it turns out Kevin Spacey was the bad guy.
Yeah.
Or like
His character.
He was the one, yeah.
Kaiser Soze?
Yeah, Kaiser Soze was
Mhm.
the guy. So then my sister and I were like, it was unexpected twist ending. Our minds were blown. Sorry,
Right.
I've totally
Yeah.
ruined that movie.
Same with me.
Yeah. So then after that, we watched Seven.
Okay.
And then turns out Kevin Spacey's not in the marketing material or anything. Spoilers for Seven. He's the bad guy in Seven.
hmm
So we're like, oh, it's the same guy. What are the odds? We're like, no way. And my sister and I were just freaking out. And like, it was a really weird experience because we didn't plan it, right?
Right.
It was just
That's cool though.
unexpected.
Back
Two
to
great
back.
back to back.
Yeah. that's amazing.
That was a crazy day. So we're like, what? No way. Kevin Spacey's my guy. This was like 2010. So
Right,
you know,
right.
before we do whatever.
Oh,
So
yeah,
then-
yeah, yeah. I get
yeah. So anyway,
You're good.
so then that happened to me. Thank you. So that happened to me with senior year.
Okay.
Kevin Spacey. He's the bad guy in that?
He was in it.
I missed him.
He was still the
Was he
bad
in the
guy, but he
background?
wasn't
He
in
was
the
in the
movie. No, I watched this. I have to find this movie. I watched this movie called The Last Survivor. I think it's called
The Last Survivor.
Last Survivors. It's called. It was from last year. It's a sci-fi movie.
Okay.
Sci-fi is in the TV channel. SY.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Not
Okay.
science fiction.
Okay.
It's a TV movie.
Okay.
TV, made for TV.
Yeah, made for
sci-fi.
TV movie. Made for sci-fi
Yes.
movie. So I went into it very low expectations.
Yes.
But I mean, it wasn't like amazing, but it was like, all right. But the whole time there's a lady in the movie that like, I was like, I recognize her from somewhere. Where is she from? I recognize her from somewhere. And I was just thinking about it, sitting on that. And then later in the day with my sister, I watched Senior Year. And then what's her face? What's her name? The main woman in
Rebel Wilson?
Rebel Wilson,
Yeah.
right? Rebel Wilson. She's taking an Uber or something, and the Uber driver is the lady from The Last Survivor.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
like, wait a second. She's the girl from Clueless. I
Yes,
was like,
that's her.
oh, she's
Yes.
the girl from Clueless. I was like,
Alicia
oh.
Silverstone.
So
Yeah.
in the Last Survivors, the main lady from Last Survivor, goes back to the city and rejoins her family and like goes back to her normal life.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, she went back to her normal life and became an Uber driver. And it's like we had that.
So it's the same world?
Yeah. So
Got
that was
it.
my stupid
So
little.
that put it up. a peg
Yeah,
for
that
you.
was an extra
Okay.
3 stars. for that.
Honestly,
yeah.
that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean,
Why did you give it 5 stars?
You know, I don't know.
the jokes just didn't land there. Oh.
So that was a little cute little moment I had with that
Oh.
movie.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it was never gonna be more than 3. I like the jokes, they were funny. But that last dancing scene with that weird flag, nah, fam.
Wait, what weird flag?
The weird flag.
I don't remember it.
Never mind. But there's a weird flag there, and I was like, what? I was very confused. It came out of nowhere. Remember, I said, like, when movies have an agenda, it goes down automatically.
Oh, I see. It was that kind of flag?
It was a weird flag.
Oh, okay.
Which
I don't
is
remember
fun.
that
I mean,
flag.
I was
just
like,
remember
I don't
liked-
even remember.
Look, unless the movie is about that, which is fine. It was randomly not. It just put it there. I'm like,
I see.
what? It was
Okay.
weird.
Mhm.
It
It
was
is a
write it down
Netflix
for you.
movie, so
It is.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, I still liked it enough to give it a 3 stars though.
Mm.
Like it was solid. I was excited to see Rebel Wilson back. I enjoyed the jokes about like the teens in high school because a lot of that is sadly very accurate.
Yeah.
Which was really fun and entertaining to see in like a more known movie. But still, like I was like, man, 21 Jump Street just did it better.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I agree with
because-
that.
Because they did it better, I can't rate this higher. Unless it like, oh wow, this was just as good or even better, then I would have made it higher.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Cool. For
Anyway.
me, a half star movie is like either it's technically inept enough that I can't focus on the movie. I'm focusing on all the mistakes that
Okay.
is happening. So it's taking you out of the movie itself because you can't help but think of like how bad the filmmaking is. That's an aspect that can take something to 5 stars for me. Or if it's outright evil, that's something that
Mhm.
will make something 5 star or half a star, 5 stars. Half a star for me. Also, if it's insulting my intelligence is another one.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's
That's good.
insulting my intelligence, that's something that'll make me put it at
What
half
would-
a star.
What would it constitute as that? Like,
For
what,
me,
spoon feeding? you stuff?
Geostorm lands in that
I fell
category.
asleep
Oh,
during
okay.
that.
Geostorm is a half star movie for me because it's like you need to go into a movie with suspension of disbelief,
Mhm.
but for Geostorm you need something else.
Right.
You need
yeah,
suspension
yeah,
of
yeah.
like everything. You need to
Okay.
suspend your intelligence. So that's
Got it.
something that
That's what you mean.
yeah, it totally like it expects the people watching it to like not know anything about anything to enjoy it. I feel like. So that's something that's a half star. Another one is Loquisha. That's a half star movie for me.
What?
Ooh.
How dare
Oh,
you?
gosh,
But that's
that
one that
movie.
also partially lands in the
Oof.
evil category.
I have it a half star too.
And Star Wars
we-
Holiday Special,
we
I
can be
have a
friends.
half star. Okay, good. Even though we disagree on Senior Year.
Yeah,
Loquisha
even though
brings us together.
Loquisha for sure. Yeah.
But a special caveat in the half-star rating for me is if it's like, let me just list a couple and maybe you guys can understand. I don't
Okay.
know exactly how to categorize these, but Lion King 2019,
That's half a star for you?
that's half a
Oh,
star.
wow. Okay.
Cats 2019,
Okay,
that's
yes.
half a star.
Mhm.
So like unnecessary remakes,
Movies.
cynical remakes that are
Right.
just a cash grab and literally nothing else, or like
Yeah.
something like that. Like that just makes me mad. I guess mad enough to give it a half a star. The most recent of these is Jurassic World Dominion. I gave a half a star.
Oh
Also,
snap!
Man,
It's that dinosaur, right?
The more
Yeah.
people trash this movie, the more I want to watch it.
I haven't seen it yet. We should
'Cause
watch it.
you would. It's delicious.
make me
how,
angry.
yeah, you would hate it. You would hate it.
Oh my gosh.
You would really hate it.
Now I really want to watch it.
Do you like
'cause
Jurassic Park, Hoover?
I might-
The original?
Am I a masochist?
You
I
might
don't know,
be.
maybe,
might
if
be.
you
Because I
wanna-
say that it's happened with films, and I do like the original. I love it. That movie is so nostalgic for me, and
Yeah.
it's higher rated for me because of the nostalgia.
And
Which
you know
I
what?
get
For
it.
the
It's
first one.
great.
But it's happened to me where people say, "Don't watch this movie. It's really bad." I'm like, "Oh, I want to watch it," and then I watch it and I hate it. I hate it and I loathe it. And I'm like, "Why did I watch this?"
Like
I
The
think I might
Greatest
be a
Showman?
masochist when it comes to movies.
Well, if you love Jurassic Park, the original, this
You're-
one takes a massive dinosaur-sized dump on it.
Dang it, I have to watch it.
You really, because it brings back the original cast. That's what it does.
It
That is
does.
unique.
Yes.
It's unique to this movie and the world
I
trilogy.
gotta see Sam Neill again
And you're gonna really see him.
and Jeff Goldblum.
You're gonna see them.
And what was I forget
Laura
her name.
Dern.
Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Laura Dern.
Mhm.
She's nice.
And my God, and the T-Rex from the first movie.
Oh yeah, he keeps coming back, right?
Oh my God.
And he's even older now.
Shoot me in
right?
the head.
And
Yeah.
he still fights the big dinosaur.
I freaking hate that they can't get over that T-Rex. Like
I told you, right? I saw him
that
at Target.
specific.
I was
Oh,
walking
that
out,
T-Rex,
and
you
then I
recognized
saw him
him.
at Target. I was like, it's that T-Rex. I didn't understand what Josh meant. I was like, what is he talking
Because
about?
I mentioned to Gila how that T-Rex makes an appearance in this movie, and they just can't let go of like. I don't want to get into it, but
I think the T-Rex represents the franchise.
you might
They
be
can't
right.
let go, and they keep making the movies.
You might be right.
But why the same one though?
That's it. You hit it on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Why can't it be like a cousin or a son or a grandson?
I mean, T-Rexes are cool, all of them. But the fact that they go through all these crazy hoops to bring back the same T-Rex from the first
And
movie.
they make do they tell you in the narrative that it's the same one?
You see it. You see it. You see
You know,
it.
you know her by this point.
The thing is they brought back the other dinosaurs from the first movie.
I thought
By
they
that I mean
died.
the actors.
Oh.
So they bring them back too to try to reel you in, and none of it works.
Yikes.
Now that I want to real quick purchases. You mentioned Lion King, the remake.
Uh-huh.
I have so much respect for, and I know I'm mentioning him again, but YMS's review of that.
Your movie sucks.
movie. Yeah, you gotta watch it. It's more than an hour long, and it's a first parter
I know.
What?
When
review of the movie.
I saw
But
part one, I was like, oh my
I saw
God.
the film, and I agree with
Wait,
Josh, and I
which
don't
one?
like it.
The live
The
action,
remake,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
And I obviously I don't like it for this and that reason, but he brought to light so much of it, and I think one of the reasons why it's a passion of his is because of Kimba, the White Lion. And so that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
that you
it's
need to watch
so
a video
funny
of his
that,
on
that
Kimba, the White
he
Lion.
fell into that. But
And I think it's so great too that people are like mistaking on the history of Kimba the White Lion. And
Yes.
he debunks all that,
yeah,
but he still tells you about it, and that alongside with the new Lion King review,
Yeah.
it's such a great and well made video, and like it's so good. But
I was
it's
telling
just the
you
first parter.
that movie is one that deserves to be totally
Yes,
eviscerated.
yes,
And I'm
yes.
so glad that
And he
someone
does
like
that.
White, yeah,
Yes,
and it's so satisfying. I feel vindicated.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know my mom wants me to she's like, I really want you to watch Lion King and Mulan. She's like,
The remakes,
the
live
remakes.
action
Yeah.
ones.
She's
Yeah.
like, I want you to watch those again. And I'm like, I'll get there eventually. She's like, no, like I want to be there when you watch
Nice.
those.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
nice.
So I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, no, really, like I need to be there when you actually sit down and watch this movie.
and he points out the hypocrisy of what nowadays movie makers, and you're like, you see what he's saying. He's like, yeah, At this point, it's just for the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Or
sad.
some kind of recognition, or just
Mhm.
because you're in the industry, so whatever, I'll go along with this. Not because of they want to make something good,
Yeah.
or a passion
Yeah,
of theirs.
I
Right.
think
Like it brought down. Honestly, I didn't know much about him, but Hans Zimmer
Okay.
for me, even though I'm sure he's still a great composer,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like seeing him talk about it,
Mhm.
and like he lied on the same interview, he contradicted himself.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, what are you doing?
It's
like,
it's
what
soulless.
are you lying
It's
for?
soulless. You know?
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Soulless is the
I
word.
think that sadly this is like a pattern that's been happening, and we return back again
Mm-hmm.
to the Disney machine.
Mm-hmm.
How
We can't help.
we
but-
can't help it, you know. Right, like that's like the latest criticism on Love and Thunder. The Taika, although he's a great director, it felt like he just didn't care with this movie that he just released, because it's just okay, it's a paycheck, it's solid, people will watch it, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that sadly, if anything, Disney is removing the creativity from directors. They don't care, and it's sad.
Yeah.
It's very depressing, but can't wait to watch those remakes.
Oh yeah, Lion King and Mulan.
It's gonna be a fun time.
Did
I
you
gave
have any
Mulan
more?
a 1 star. I don't know why. It should be a half star too.
Like,
Did you have any more questions?
No. That's it. I think that wraps it up for me for what I had ready.
Okay.
Do you think you want to watch Loquisha now?
no, I don't know what that is.
Don't watch it.
I
Do you guys think there's a better rating system than the 5-star, 1 through 10, or thumbs up, thumbs down?
You know,
Like Cisco and
maybe
Ebert.
have you been to a doctor's office and they ask you like how much pain you're in?
Mhm.
On
Yeah.
one side it's a green smiley face
Yeah.
smiling,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side it's like someone crying and they're dead.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
That's
like how you
good.
feeling emotion.
Yeah.
I usually
yeah.
like to also describe movies by like food,
Huh?
That's
like,
good.
because like sometimes you want to eat something really
You know
good
what?
and healthy, but sometimes it's like really gooey and cheesy, and
Wow,
it's not
Hila.
that good for you,
That's
but it's still
perfect.
good.
Huh. That's a good
That's
analogy.
perfect, Gila.
Thank you.
No, it's really good. I really like that.
I felt like
I was
that.
gonna
Like,
do that.
okay, also like by vibes, right? Like for me, I'll mention like my some of my top 5, right?
Mhm.
That are like full on, and this is like a list. We already talked about Top Gun, but I only have that as like pure emotional, right?
Mhm.
So like, I'm kicking that one out.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, and these are movies that I've rewatched and still love and still think about to this day. Like sometimes I'll be sitting on my couch and I'm like, huh, that was a great movie.
Hmm.
So it'd be The Spectacular Now, La La Land, Spirited Away, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And then I was gonna mention Black Swan because everyone knows that's my favorite. And it's still my favorite,
Mm.
but I also had No Country for Old Men.
Cool.
Mm,
Cool.
Because I think all of these movies achieve exactly what they needed to do. And they were good at doing them, and they had great acting, great writing. In general, it was fantastic.
Mhm.
I loved all of them. Like La La Land, obviously we all have seen that. It's really good. I think for me, like the one that I always go back to and fight for is The Spectacular Now, because it's so good. And I've recommended it to them. I think they watched it already.
I haven't watched
seen
it.
I need
It's
to watch
so
it. You have talked
good.
to me about
And
it.
I love this so much because it's like
That's Shailene Woodley and George Clooney.
no,
Am I
Shailene
mistaken?
Woodley and Miles Teller.
Okay.
It's like about teenagers trying to go to college, and it's about them like having a crush with each other during a summer vacation. It's the most basic plot, but it's so good. It just explores what it's like to be in love and to be young and to be a teenager, what it's like to go from being a teen to into the adult world, what that really means, what that really signifies. Like all of that stuff, like what it really means to grow up. Like, I don't know. It's such a basic plot and story, but it does this so well. And the acting is phenomenal. Like the chemistry between the actors is fantastic. The acting is really good. And this is not that, I don't remember when it came out, but like they've acted before in other movies. I've seen them act in other movies as well. And they're good actors, both of them. But in this movie, they just work so well together. And I loved it. And I think I like it even more because it's so
and Divergent.
underrated.
Hmm.
Again, Divergent, and I think they were in another movie together too. But I like that it's so underrated that I like it even more.
Cool.
Because I'm like, I would recommend it to a lot of people because it's actually good.
Mm.
And I really like it. And it makes me sad a lot. And that's when I knew like Miles Teller was a great actor, because I'm like, he knows, like he understands how to portray like nuance and like the emotional, like the feelings that you hide he knows how to show that. Like, he's really good at that.
Right.
So I really saw that in this movie, and I really liked that. So the fact that I was able to put Spectacular Now next to like La La Land and Spirited Away, it just, to me, I like it a lot.
Cool. I have Spirited Away at 5 stars.
It's so good. I love that movie. And I watched all of these movies. I watched twice or more than twice in order for me to be like, yeah, I like them.
Nice.
They're good stuff.
Those are good recommendations for people. Better than Loquisha. So.
Better than Loquisha. Actually, weirdly enough, like The Social Network, I don't have a 5 stars. I have it at 4 stars. I know. There was no emotional attachment, but it's a fantastic movie. It's like that. Like, for me, 4 stars are like great films, but I'm not attached. Or I'm fully attached, but they're not that good.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from then on, we continue.
Nice.
I wonder if I revisit Phantom Thread, if it's even good, because you guys
I
haven't
want.
watched it yet.
I have it on my list. Actually, I want to watch it. It's under romantic movies.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it should be there.
I'm excited. Sure. I saw the trailer a little bit, and like the little clip that they give you on Netflix, and I'm like, I'm intrigued.
I know nothing about it, so I was going totally blind.
I'm intrigued. It was just like that one part. Close your ears, Josh.
Okay.
I was joking.
La 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 la.
It was like brief. They're like, wow, that dress was beautiful. They were like at dinner. He's like, oh, thank you. You know, like very like polite. He's like, I'm like, honestly, like, it's so good that when she's dead, I would dig it up from the grave or something. Like something like that. And I was like, what the heck? Because they were so in love with the dress. So I was very intrigued. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm like, now I want to watch it. I feel like it's my type of movie. Based on the stuff I like. Somebody, though. Why?
Just
okay,
Is it scary?
I guess you and me.
Just
you and me.
We'll all watch it together.
Okay.
Maybe that could be my next pick.
Oh.
Maybe. Where are you? It sounds familiar.
Oh no, he's back.
It's funny.
Well, that's a great little Mickey Mouse.
Oh, that was Mickey?
What? Who do you think that was?
I said he's back.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even
What?
see
That sounded just like Mickey Mouse.
Honestly, at this point, it's like it could go either way. They'll sue us from all the crap we talk, or they will give us money because we give them so much promotion.
Right.
No, there's people.
Would you be sponsored by them? You think?
No.
If they offered a sponsorship, you would take it?
No.
Oh.
I don't think I would either.
What if they gave us like an annual pass or something?
I would take it if they specifically promised me a lot of things.
You specifically,
and I'll tell you what it is.
What?
Ready?
I'm ready.
If they donated a lot of money to international Christian organizations, more specifically about giving Bibles away and feeding the hungry and preaching the gospel. And you know what I mean? I don't think they're going to do this. And they have their own line of Christian movies that directly just preach the gospel but are well produced.
Okay. I would rate
I don't
that
think
as
they're going to do that.
highly unlikely.
That would literally, and I say that would never happen.
What? Why not?
Hey,
that's when
hold on. Let's
that's when I will accept.
If we talk about other different like franchises, like, you know, other like Universal, maybe Lion King.
What's funny is that
Disney?
Disney would be begging me. Oh, I want to sponsor you so bad. I'll make my own line of Christian movies.
You're
just to be able to sponsor us.
Just that. You're just
so important. You guys can talk nice about us.
Wow. Yeah. Compared to us, we're like very nice. There's other people that do
that's
not
what I
hold
mean.
back.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That we're nothing. As in like Disney.
Yeah,
like
we
don't talk that much things.
Because we like some stuff by them. Almost all their stuff in the 90s. So it's just the crap from now that we're like, maybe later in the future, and they'll decide to backpedal and give us solid.
It'll be a
movies
Disney
again.
Renaissance.
Yes.
We'll always have the game plan.
I thought I was gonna go with like Enchanted. That is a good live action, solid princess.
We'll always
movie.
have Fantasia.
Enchanted is enjoy. Enchanted is the Susan Sarandon plays the evil mother, right?
It's the one with Amy Adams. Yeah,
Amy Adams plays
the
princess
they're doing
lady.
a second one.
Oh,
for
no.
Disney Plus, and they're gonna ruin it.
No.
I can already tell.
Oh,
or maybe
God.
they'll surprise me.
Well,
and
that is a great
good.
movie.
Yeah.
It's nice and it's lovely and it's it's kid friendly and adult friendly.
But just to
Yeah.
get into that, I think bad sequels are a product of just kind of like the
Unnecessary. Yes, that's not a
like
word.
it's out of demand for like content. Like
Mhm.
like it's a long-standing tradition for Disney because they did like Aladdin 2 and 3, like Mulan 2, you know,
But they
so
don't.
it's
They
like
didn't go straight to theaters.
yeah, they're straight
This
to
is true.
straight to
DVD,
VHS, straight
which
to
is
DVD.
fine.
So it's like that tracks with, I guess, their business model. Not to defend them,
Okay,
But now
you're
they're big enough,
right.
though. They're huge enough where they go straight to theater, and there's hype around it enough where they're so overly produced and so much money goes into them, and they got the budget so that all the stars are there, everything is there. So, but then they still tank.
Yeah, because they're not good. It's
Because
like
they're not
it's like
good.
quantity over quality.
Mhm.
I think as of now, in this phase that they have now, they have like 80 something things planned. When that's like more than it was all of phase 1, 2, 3. So it's like how
as
are
far
you?
as Marvel movies.
Yeah, Marvel movies, for
Yeah,
example.
specifically.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
then
they've been spamming those like crazy. Just
Right.
so we forget each one as soon as the next one comes out.
right. So I mean, who knows? Maybe there will be some good, solid Disney movies coming up. Hopefully, to me, it's all.
Some 5-star stars.
I don't know. Maybe I do have like I think the last Disney 5-star that I put was Tangled. I love that movie. It's so good.
Cool.
Maybe Moana. Moana is also really good.
Mine was Encanto.
I don't know what to look up. You haven't counted those 5 stars?
Yeah.
I
Because
don't know what my highest Disney specifically is.
it's probably
I don't know
Air
what to put.
Buddies. Are they
Yes.
Disney?
Yeah, now they're
That's
Disney.
true.
Oh,
I
maybe
can't
it's a
tell you.
Star Wars movie.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
Paddington.
They don't, and Disney does not own Paddington.
Thank God.
Paddington is not owned by nobody.
Paddington
He's a
owns
free
Disney.
bear.
Let's see if any of these are Disney.
He's a free bear. He wasn't. Never mind. I don't
I
want to spoil
haven't
this.
seen it yet.
I don't want to spoil it.
And I'm
spoil
thinking
it.
of like movies that were released while they were owned by Disney.
Okay, that's different.
Not as in like, let's say the original Empire Strikes Back wasn't owned by Disney when it was released.
Right.
That's what I mean. I don't know if I have a Disney in my first page of the highest rated movies. Not that it's bad. Not that it's a bad thing.
Not even Mulan, not live action.
Oh
The
my
regular
God.
cartoony one. I love that movie too. All those are solid. They're pretty great. Well, you guys scroll. I will give an account of my journey in Disney so far.
Okay, an update.
Actually, no. I put my live action remake watches on pause just because I don't have Disney Plus at the moment, but I'll get it eventually from someone. And I will go back. I'm still waiting for Maleficent and the Cinderella movie to be on Disney
You're
Plus.
gonna be waiting for a little bit. for
Dang it,
sure.
I'm gonna have to get like a free trial for Stars so that I can watch those movies. Because I want to watch them in order. I want to feel the experience and how little by little they started to become terrible. Like I went into detail. I'm talking like movie, original, date of release, the way that it was rated in Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and Letterboxd, the highest rating and the lowest rating.
Mhm.
And then I also did the length of the films, because as you see, as the years pass, the longer the movies get.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
it's like I'm going a full deep dive, and I hate that because this is taking me so long. I'm gonna have to add stupid Pinocchio on that movie.
Yeah.
I found it.
What's
Okay,
the
what's up?
the highest rated recent? What is it we're looking for? Highest rated recent Disney movie?
That's on here, but maybe because of
Drumline.
it's Toy Story the original.
Oh man, I love
Wow.
that movie.
But
Weird-
I have it at 4 stars.
Wow.
Okay, that's solid. Coming from you, that is a good movie.
That's an old rating though.
Oh.
So it's not newer. And I left it as an older. I haven't revisited the
How
movie.
far down do you think you can go?
I think.
I'd have to rewatch it.
Do you take the sequels into account?
Not 4.
You mean for the first one?
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, no, because it's the first one.
So
Oh, do I take in the sequels? Do I take the previous into account?
no, because like for instance, there's times that they'll retcon a character or whatever in the sequels, or
Mhm.
change the origin story or something like that in the sequels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, does that ever factor into the way you see the original? Like, for instance,
No,
No,
it makes me
for me, it
hate the
doesn't.
remake.
okay,
Whatever.
Yeah,
they
so
for me,
all
decided
your
it
to
hatred
definitely
do.
goes onto the remake. For
Yes,
saying
it
something
doesn't
like that.
change anything. Like, okay, Toy Story 4. I like the movie. I just hated what they did with Buzz. I love Buzz. He's my favorite character
Mhm.
besides Jesse, and I've been vocal about it. I didn't like how they made him really dumb,
Mm.
and I'm
And
like,
that's what I was referring
yeah,
to.
I was like, it made him really dumb. But then when I go back at the other 3 movies, he's very smart. Like in the second one, he was able to go save Woody by leading these toys across town to save Woody, and he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to manage that. He doesn't need to push the little buttons on. He's like, boop, go fight a dragon. Like stupid things. Like, why would he randomly decide to do that out of nowhere? That makes no sense. So to me, that's why I don't love the 4th one as much. I still enjoyed it,
Mhm.
but sadly, it didn't hit the mark of 1, 2, and 3 did.
Okay.
Mm.
Because of that, like they completely changed his character. Like, why was that needed? That was unnecessary. That made no sense to me. But I guess they needed that so that they could make the entire plot work because Woody's missing. He already did that. That already happened in the second one.
Yeah. Right.
So, I guess he has to be stupid enough for this plot to work. Sorry.
Got you. Wow. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But first 1, 2, and 3, solid trilogy. They
Mhm.
should have left it there.
There's a franchise that does this also is the sequel trilogy of Star Wars.
Mhm.
Messes with some of the stuff from the original trilogy.
What about
Yeah.
that Obi-Wan Kenobi show?
And the prequel doesn't.
Right.
The prequels do it for sure.
The
as well. They
prequels
did it
really,
first.
yeah. So that's one where I was like, it doesn't affect because now in canon, the reason for doing stuff is like explained in a certain way
Mhm.
that you didn't have when the movie
Or like
first
Ben
came out.
Solo's name?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
That's canon, right?
Yes, that is
Supposedly?
canon. Yes.
Or
So
or Lumpy.
he's canon also.
Yes, he is.
So I should bring down my Revenge of the Sith rating because of Lumpy.
Lumpy's related
Bring
to
it down a few stars. Put it in its place.
Come
The
on, Lumpy
Incredibles is
deserves
my
a
other
full solid
Oh,
star.
of a
4
higher.
star. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same as Toy Story, The Incredibles.
Mm,
Oh, I have that as a
It's a good one.
5-star. It's so good. That's my favorite superhero movie.
nice.
Mhm.
I love Syndrome. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
His
I hate it, though.
monologue.
I'd say I'd have The Incredibles over Toy Story if I ever had to choose one.
Same.
It's a solid movie.
I think so
good.
too.
It's really great.
Now I
It is
want to
really
go
great.
watch Toy. I don't actually own them, so I can't watch them unless I get Disney Plus. That was stupid of me. I should go buy them, but then I'd give Disney money.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
It's
go.
scored so well too. It's so iconic.
Toy Story.
The score for The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Toy Story too, but
Mhm.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
it.
the
I can't
score.
do more.
I don't know why I was like the rating. You mean the musical score?
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Sorry,
will-
yes. The grading score.
But I listen to it sometimes. I'm like, I'm just gonna listen to the score today, and I
Good.
do. I'm
That sounds like
driving-
a very you thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm
When I
driving
hear-
to work and I listen.
When I hear the Whiplash Caravan, the song Caravan from
Yeah.
Whiplash, I'll
Mm.
think of The Incredibles.
Yeah, it sounds so similar.
Mhm.
That's funny.
Doo-doo-doo. Sorry,
That's another Miles Teller movie.
it is.
Yeah, Miles Teller.
I did have Whiplash on my list, but I'm like, nah, we talked a lot about him.
Oh yeah, we did.
Kind of, but not really. We never told him that Goose was him.
Spoilers.
I think he was
for Top Gun
fantastically-
Maverick from
he
an
was
hour ago.
Casted amazingly.
Yes, I agree.
He really was. Because he was not Miles Teller in that movie. He was Rooster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
You guys feel like we covered everything?
Yeah,
I
I think that was a pretty
so.
comprehensive discussion.
Like how we rate movies. So
Mm-hmm.
now that people know, like, I rated it.
Yeah, and
Blah, blah,
people can
blah.
follow us on Letterboxd if they want more insight on how we feel on
Yes.
certain movies. Now knowing the context of like our
Yeah.
approach, our mindset, and our reasoning.
Yeah.
So
I
follow us
agree.
on Letterboxd. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, whatever streaming service. We're there.
Always.
And
Waiting
you can
for
rate
you.
us. You can rate us however you feel.
You can rate me a nice juicy hamburger.
Oh,
I'm gonna do that from now on, Gila.
food.
You're gonna see my rating for a movie
It's
and
gonna
then
be
what
a-
food it equals.
Yeah,
You know.
like sometimes
French
it
fry
helps
emoji.
me.
Yes,
Hey, that works. Like to me, that's a good time. It's not
Good.
the healthiest, but I'm here for
it's
it.
chicken drum.
Awesome.
Top Gun Maverick is a chicken drum.
Oh, okay.
That is fantastic. Oh, okay. See, I understand that rating
Oh my
much
God.
better.
I'm just
like,
kidding. It's not. I just thought of a random food and
Hey,
I put it
I'm
on Top
hungry,
Gun Maverick.
so a chicken leg drum thing. I'm like, I'll eat that right now. I'm starving.
Top Gun Maverick is like a nice large Chick-fil-A fry.
Top Gun Maverick's like, a big floppy one?
No, they're nice and crispy.
Crispy.
Yes.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun Maverick's like a plane.
Wait, a plane?
Okay, I guess. Yes. Is that a food?
Yeah.
Do you eat planes?
Well, here comes a little.
Oh, you're feeding your
my
baby.
gosh.
Got
Are
it.
you kidding me?
So
out.
Gerber baby food.
That's right.
It's
That's
healthy
what I would
for
give
babies.
it. Put a little baby emoji. That's Top
I
Gun
think I
Maverick.
would give it a nice chocolate cake.
Hmm.
It's rich.
It's sweet.
It's good. It's sweet. You know.
There's a rooster in there.
What?
Cakes are made with eggs.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's just how it feels. It's not my favorite cake, but it's still pretty good.
Nice.
So to me, when I enjoy a nice slice of chocolate cake, I like
With
it.
chocolate icing.
Yes.
That's Tom Cruise.
He's
He's a good action star.
He's a great, if not as people call him online,
And
the
then
last
too much
movie
of it
star.
will get you sick because Scientology will get you sick.
That's right. That's right.
Remember how I
don't
didn't
eat too
like
much.
Tom Cruise?
Uh-huh.
I like him. No way. How would I say that?
Oh,
I don't
okay.
like him.
You're turning
but
around
I
on
dislike him less.
Less. Got it.
Wow.
I dislike him
All
less.
right, give it another decade, maybe.
I just
Mhm.
respected everything he went through to make sure that this film was
Yeah,
what
that's
it was.
true.
Mhm.
Like,
He does have that passion.
He worked very hard to make this film what it was, and he is very proud of that by making his actors learn how to freaking fly a plane,
Yeah.
to do all the training, everything that had to go through to make this film. He wanted that to happen,
Mhm.
and it happened, and he's very happy for it. And hey, it paid off. That movie literally made
I heard
$1
it recently
billion.
beat Titanic.
yeah, it did. Like,
I'm so surprised about that. That movie is making that much money right now.
we're all shook. We're
Yeah.
like, nobody expected that at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like how we didn't mention it, but I think it's just how good the movie is because
Mhm.
it's just a
Yeah.
good, old fashioned, solid, great movie. And maybe that's also why I give it such a high rating, because sadly, they don't make movies like that anymore. And that in itself is worth the 5 stars. If maybe more movies were made like that, maybe it wouldn't be a 5-star. Maybe it would be a good 3.5, 4 even, but not a 5. And now I think maybe in a way it's a little sad that a movie, even though it's really good, it's a 5-star because other ones are just not like that anymore.
Just knowing that, at least in the US, I say that movie has my faith. It has revitalized my faith in the movie industry, as in the theater industry.
Right,
Like
I
getting
think so
back
too.
up and running, even though it's not 100% getting back up and running. Like,
Not yet.
people aren't going to the theater as much as they did before, but look at the numbers this movie is making.
Mhm.
Like, wow, crazy.
Yeah, people have showed up to watch
Or
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you regret watching it in theaters, Josh?
No, I wish I'd seen it in a better theater.
You chose that theater.
Mm-mm.
Did I choose that theater?
I was
I
trying
did.
to see something in IMAX.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't watch. I wanted to watch it in IMAX, but it was already out of IMAX because they had put Jurassic Dominion instead.
Oh, God.
So I was stuck.
I'm
with
glad
it.
I didn't watch that one in IMAX.
Would you be upset?
I probably would have been madder. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But let's wrap things up.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you. Love you.
See ya.
Thanks for listening.
Bye. What's funny is that we actually ended the episode just like that. Wow, they're gonna be like, Whiplash.
They'll hear the music. They'll hear the music.
that's true. It's gonna get louder and louder.
Yeah,
Bye.
we're like Top Gun, Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Letterboxd. Look at that. Get out. You watched a new movie, right?
How was it?
He
Are
gave
we
it.
starting?
No, but we can talk about.
This could be an extra on the end, so we can talk about it.
Okay, yeah. Not my favorite Jordan Peele movie.
Did you like it better than Us?
I haven't seen Us.
You really
Oh.
haven't seen it? Was fine. It was all right.
So my thing is, I feel like it was trying to do too many things at once. So it was literally like a horror comedy, sci-fi, western drama. Like it didn't really hit all of those. So there's some parts in it that
I see.
didn't work for me because it clashed with the tones of the other parts.
I heard a slight commentary how Jordan Peele likes to plan his movies while he's really high on like weed, and then he like edits them sober.
Oh wow!
So I mean, I think that's a big like thing that helps him. Maybe this time around,
There's some
he
things
did
that
a
it does
little
really
too
well.
much. Like maybe he would have focused on a couple things.
Like there's some scenes that are really, really good, but it's not the whole movie.
This side of the microphone, it's on that side. Okay. But I think that newer iPhones have one here too, so they have it on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So you shouldn't go like this.
It doesn't matter. I think it would be fine.
What if I hold it like this?
What if you hold it like?
I think that it'll still go through, but it'll be awesome. That's for me.
I wonder all the things that Hube has to be like, la, la, and they go. Does it make you cringe?
No, not at all. It makes me laugh.
Like,
it'll make me cringe when I hear my own like really like my mouth breathing when I'm just listening to you guys. I'm just like. And so I have to edit it.
You should leave that. You should leave it. See if people notice.
Just mute us.
I forget that I
leave yours.
He got just in the background. And I'm like,
you hear us in the distance. Yeah, because